peace tonight, right here in Washington County. And with the turmoil that's across the ocean in Afghanistan, we ask that you come down and help rescue our people and the people that have helped us, but particularly tonight, help us to make wise decisions as commissioners that will enhance our county. We thank you for this privilege. In Jesus' name, amen.
Let's honor America.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please. If you're glad to indicate your presence here this evening. All right. We do have 15 present tonight. We do have a quorum. Our next item is we'll recess for public hearing. We do have a couple of speakers this evening. During the public hearing, you'll receive 3 minutes to come forward to the podium and address the commission with your concern.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, would you like to approve the agenda before we...
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I missed approving the agenda part. We'll back up and go ahead and take care of that. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Carriger. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Fitzgerald. Commissioner Tester?
Mr. Chairman, I was wondering if my colleagues would be amenable to moving Resolution 210805 down underneath the Rules Committee as the first resolution under the Rules Committee. That one and the one that's under Rules Committee both came out of Rules this month. And they kind of go together.
Okay. All right. Is there any objection to that? Seeing no objection, we'll go ahead and move that item. Commissioner Tester?
Thank you.
Any other corrections before we approve the agenda? Seeing none, we do have a motion and second. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. The motion passes and the agenda is approved. Right. We now have the agenda approved. We'll move on to the public comment portion. Each individual should be given 3 minutes to address the Board of Commissioners regarding agenda items. Your comments will be limited to items on the agenda tonight. Our first speaker tonight is Jessica Zimmerman. Jessica, if you'll come forward to the podium, please. Jessica, you'll have 3 minutes, and if you'll give your name, your address to the clerk, please, she'll record that for the record.
Jessica Zimmerman.
Hang on just a minute, Jessica. Do I get your microphone on? Is the light blinking on the bottom of it?
It is.
Okay, Jessica, I see your light on. I think you're ready to speak. Now let me set your time here. Okay. Go ahead.
My name is Jessica Zimmerman, and I live at 304 Lester Snap Road in Limestone. I'm actually giving this message on behalf of my mother-in-law who's out of town, so this is her rap, but I share similar sentiments, so just keep that in mind. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world, shine your light like a city on a hill." He also said, no matter what we do, we shouldn't trumpet or loudly sound off, hypocritically from a platform, but rather focus on our deeds, speaking over our words. If he had taught us to speak loudly, he would have told us to build our stage in a bowl, to find a low, quiet place with access to the surrounding hills. He did this several times when he entered a boat and taught the hillside crowd from the lowest level on the Sea of Galilee. From such places he taught us to love our neighbor as ourselves and to forgive those who trespass against us. My husband is hearing impaired. I have learned that when he isn't wearing his hearing aids, I need to wait to speak to him until I'm in close proximity and in a space with no competing noises. I find myself envying him now in his formerly quiet and peaceful setting where the evenings and mornings are filled with a constant roar. No longer do I look forward to autumn's fresh air through open windows or climbing in a hammock under the big box elder tree with a book. The rivers flow, the bird songs, and the heavenly quiet we're used to hear is overwhelmed by the incessant drone of fans. I grew up in a Superfund site, New Jersey, overflowing with toxic waste that we could see and smell but didn't understand. With this world's corruption, greed, and political socioeconomic systems escalating out of control, we decided to move here last spring. We love our four neighbors at the bottom of our street, clustered next to a cornfield and a cow pasture. But because of Bright Ridge and Red Dog's blatant mistake and miscalculations, we are left with the same feeling of being robbed of a wholesome and better quality of life and being taken advantage of in the airspace above our properties. Not only has my son and family lost $10,000 on a purchase agreement to build on land adjacent to this Bitcoin noise, but they also lost out on buying another property within walking distance of our home where the grandchildren couldn't have walked to our house. Why? Because of you. My mother used to say, time to fess up. It's now time for you two bedfellows to confess to building a city of noise and intrusion in a perfect bowl with natural acoustical characteristics that rival any man-made amphitheater. Fess up for lying to us and the commissioners about your intentions. We all know it was to line your own pockets rather than to spare the residents from great increases. I haven't canvassed the citizens of New Salem yet, but I bet every single one of them would have preferred a utility height to living captive in our homes with our windows closed. Please stop saying you want to be a good neighbor. If my dog barked all night and kept my neighbor from resting well, when she came to me and asked me to keep my dog quiet indoors, I would ensure that it never happened again, starting that very night. When you have turned off your mongering fans to stop the barking of your neighbors, never. For 6 months now, you've been rascals, and the last 12 months before that, you were bad neighbors of whom we were unaware. You're the kind of neighbor who makes us grimace, makes our already burdened hearts and minds heavier, and reminds us that our bliss in moving here is only naive and misplaced. You're the kind of neighbor we want to move away from if we could, only find anyone willing to buy our homes and live next to the rudest neighbor.
Jessica, I'm sorry, but you've reached your 3 minutes.
I'd like to finish, but so that's fine.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Sam Zimmerman. Sam, if you'll come forward to the podium, please. Just give your address to the clerk and
So it's been a couple months since I talked to you guys last. As my wife just mentioned, I told you our story how we moved from Charlotte to get away from the city to find peace and quiet with our family here in Limestone. I've experienced the noise at Bright Ridge, or at Red Dog, for 3 months now. It's very safe to say that I'd much rather live in the hood to the beautiful mountains. But I don't have anything really planned. I just want to tell you guys that I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. I design automation as a living. And, as an engineer, we're solution-based. You have a problem, and you have to find a solution to it. So we all know the obvious problem that the engineering blunder that was committed by Red Dog and Bright Ridge, and that was to build, a jet engine in the valley that echoes for miles and miles. But the other thing that I've heard from Red Dog, he told me on the phone, just give us 3 months, we're going to build a little partition in the center, and that's going to mitigate the walls. And, I thought that was silly as an engineer, from an engineering perspective. But now that's been completed, and I drove by, and really it's quite humorous, to say the least. It's quite a joke, and it's also a joke that it even took 3 months for that wall to be built. So I just want to encourage everybody involved, Bright Ridge, Red Dog, and you guys to be solutions focused, right? If you need to get advice from an engineer, go for it. That way we don't continue to be misled, like we would. Just like I kind of feel silly that I even allowed Ed to tell me that you're going to put up a little partition and that's going to help the problem. It's like trying to just like stop to dam up a river with a toothpick. That's really what it was. So just keep that in mind. I'm just encouraging you. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, our next speaker is Preston Holly. Preston, if you'll come forward to the podium, please. Just give your address to the clerk.
Yes, Preston Holly, 325 Rolla Evans Road in Limestone, directly across the road from the big one. Since I've been up here a couple of times, there's only so much more I can say, but I want to start off with my appreciation to you all for last month's meeting, your willingness to hear us, and for your willingness to ask the tough questions. I felt very satisfied with just the questioning to Bright Ridge, to Red Dog, to find out the details, to find out answers, to find out what was going on, find out what the intentions were. Something like this that creates a lot of money for somebody, sometimes you might worry, well, we're the one guy, we're not going to be important. I didn't feel that way. I felt like you really cared. I felt like you were really valuing the community that we lived in. I feel that all of you understand that the New Salem community is a beautiful place. It's a wonderful community where I grew up. I lived there most of my life. And a lot of other people feel that way as well. People moving here from other states. We have a lot of that. It's a beautiful place to build a home. Maybe this is a good opportunity. Maybe there'll be something that good that can come from it. I don't know. I don't know that I see lots of jobs. I don't know that I see, but if there is a benefit, I'm anxious to hear what it is. And then if there is going to be a benefit, I hope that we're really working towards it, and that we'll be transparent. That this is what we're doing here. This is our intention, and here's how we can help you. Again, so I hope that you will continue to push and to make sure that the responsible parties will come up with their end of the bargain. That they will be willing to be transparent with what they're doing, what their intentions are, and make this an asset to our community and not just the nuisance that it is. Because again, I've told you, many other people have told you, the noise it's unstoppable. There is a period in the day where the rates are high and the facility doesn't run. But 8 o'clock, it's on. It's on hard. So we just hope that we can come to a solution that's good for everybody, and not just for those who have made that investment. Because again, if they're making an investment in our community, we want it to benefit our community and not to be a problem. So again, thank you all for what you did last month. And again, I look forward to your continued support in bringing a solution for everyone involved.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. That will complete our public hearing portion of the agenda. We'll move directly on into the public hearing portion for our rezoning. We do have one rezoning to consider this evening. It's located in the 6th Civil District. It'll be in the R3 High Density Residential District to the A1 General Agricultural District. That's owned by Scott Gouge. I'll go ahead and we'll open up the public hearing this evening for those that are opposed to this rezoning. I'm calling for people that are opposed to the zoning. If you'll have a seat there, Mr. Gouge, we'll get you up here to speak on it in just a minute. Is there anyone here that's opposed to this rezoning? Seeing none? In favor of this rezoning, Mr. Gouge, we'll have you back up here now.
As I was saying, I'm the owner and petitioner for the rezone, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. If there's any questions, they'll be later on, but we're just actually just here to hear from you during public hearing. So I'm sure if they have any questions, it'll come up in just a few moments. So don't go far, but we appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you so much. All right, we'll move out of public hearing and move right on into the Planning Commission and Zoning. Ms. Charles, our Planning Administrator, is here this evening. Is that correct? That's our new title? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Thank you, Angie.
This property is located at 4011 Highway 1, and that is near Robert Love Road. The request is to rezone from R3 to 89, which is our general agriculture district, and the purpose is to allow a residential accessory structure to remain on the property without the presence of a home or residence on site of it. There was no opposition to this request, and the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval at their August meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Angie. All right, as you see, the minutes of the Board of Zoning Appeals is in your packet, in the August 3rd Regional County Commission Planning Agenda. We do have one resolution to consider. That's Resolution 210801. Is a resolution rezoning tax map 07 in the 6th Civil District presently owned by Scott Gouge. We have a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Tester, seconded by Commissioner Malone to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, please. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you announce the vote. 15 yes, 0 no, and the resolution passes. All right, moving right on into the special recognition tonight. We have several different items. The first item is Bright Ridge and is here with us this evening. Mr. Cox, if there's anything you'd like to bring with us for us tonight.
I appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to come back again this month and update you on everything that y'all been working on. Our folks have been working, continue to work with them, and really, they have the information passed along to them. They've been working with the engineers and the consultants they have, and they've had some things that they want to discuss, and I'd be remiss by jumping into it since it's their information. So I will turn it over to Todd Maker, who we met last month, and let him update you on the testing and stuff that they've done, and some things they've done this week.
Good evening. Again, my name is Todd Napier, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Red Dog Technologies. Also here with me is Ed Medford and Bill Hicks from also representing Red Dog. And as we promised at the July County Commission meeting, I'd that we would come back to give you an update on the acoustical engineering study being conducted by WSP on the human abatement measures and taken in different ways to date, as well as on our ongoing and planned steps. I do want to start off again, like I said last meeting, by just reiterating that it's our company's culture and desire and to be good and responsible neighbors. I know there's some that certainly question that, even tonight, but that is absolutely true. And we do care about their concerns that are being expressed by our neighbors regarding the ongoing operations of this facility. And we're anxious, just as everyone else is, to get this behind us so that we can move on and become a good and valued neighbor, member of the Limestone and Washington County communities, and then become more involved in local civic activities, philanthropic, school-based activities. I think we do have something to add. As was discussed in July, we commissioned a study by an international engineering firm, consulting firm called WSP. They've got expertise in acoustical engineering. And the scope of their work was to measure and evaluate the existing conditions in the surrounding areas, to develop an acoustical model based on the surrounding area around our facility, and then provide recommendations on the most effective mitigation measures that we can reasonably and put in place. We have received some draft information from that study, and we've taken some actions on that, and we expect to have the final report within the next few weeks. It's our desire and objective, as we said last time, to have a solid base plan that's based on measurable data, acoustical engineering principles, and design, all of which will better enable us to make informed decisions. We will review WSP's findings to determine those prudent recommendations based on the impact and effectiveness of those recommendations. In the interim, we're not waiting on that final report to begin. And I'm happy to report that we just, to reduce the sound level, I'm happy to report that we started last week installing acoustical louver with one of the equipment pods. It seems to be working and favorably as an effective prototype and design was installed. So we have begun the process of fabricating additional acoustical louvers that will be installed on the remaining pods. And we believe that this will have a noticeable impact on the level of sound. We also soon begin installing soundproof material inside of these equipment pods, which we also believe will have an appreciable effect on reducing the sound levels. These acoustical louvers, as well as soundproof materials, it takes some time to design, get the engineers used, build prototypes. Again, with the acoustical louvers, I'm happy to say that we're beyond that and moving forward in production for the rest of them. And we do have a proposal from EBM Paps, which I mentioned is a local German fan manufacturing company that has a local presence, I should say, and to replace our existing trains. So that's being considered and might be something we'll go with. It'll be something that we'll consider in the next options that we have to take effect determining how we proceed. So the bottom line is we are committed to finding and implementing a workable solution. We do have a dedicated email address we mentioned last time to receive citizen comments, questions. That's monitored every day. So that we can get back to someone in a timely manner. I did bring some additional cards that left. Put that on there. Simple address. It's comments@reddogtn.com. That's comments with an S at reddogtn.com. And if it so pleases the County Commission, certainly happy to come back in September to provide further updates on progress on our efforts. I do thank you for this opportunity to come back this evening to address this body.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Mr. Carter?
Can you solve the problem?
We believe that we can, through these engineering steps, certainly get this out of the way.
I would appreciate it, yes or no, but let it be what it is.
Commissioner Edens?
You said the acoustical movements are already making a positive impact.
So we have a total of 15 equipment out there, we've got it on one. My firm that seems to be making a difference, so that we feel strong enough about it, we're going to move forward with install all. That's prefabricated, getting those installed all.
Okay, so it's made a positive impact from inside the facility.
Yeah, when you're
But not
in front
to-
of it.
no.
Right, it's one of 15.
Commissioner Williams?
I've been out there. It is super noisy. And I would ask you to record the noise between now and September and bring the whole area, the commissioners and all, the sound bites from that noisy thing. All right?
Commissioner Davenport?
From what I've heard, you all have admitted that this is a nuisance and it's something you really didn't plan for, it sounded to me like. So why wouldn't you just shut it down until you find the fix for the problem? I don't think that these people, in being a good neighbor, I would shut it down until I found the problem. I realize it's business, there's money at risk and stuff like this, but quality of life is much more important than money. It's comparing money to your health, and it just doesn't make sense. So why wouldn't you just shut it down, fire it back up when you have the fixes, instead of lingering this out?
Well, we're moving forward with, as we said we would, it's getting the results of study, the recommendations, and moving forward with getting those implemented. I can't speak to shutting it down. That's certainly not something that I would make a decision on. I believe that we can get this thing, based on what we're seeing, under control very quickly.
But it hasn't been done very quickly, so why would you not take that back and look at that as a consideration, being a good neighbor?
Commissioner Harris?
Well, actually, Commissioner Davenport took the words out of my mouth. I actually represent that area.
Yes.
And I've had people call me and really complain about it. So, good people. They live there for years. A lot of them have built their whole life living in houses for a long time. And I hear you say you want to be a good neighbor. When we have people coming here tonight, they live in the middle of the ghetto with some gunshots versus living down there. And this is heartbreaking. I voted for this. I think I'm the one maybe that made the motion to approve this. But I feel like I was putting it when I done it. Really, I've got the lowest respect for Brian. The name in our community is always at the top in my mind. And the night that I voted for this, I was under the impression it was going to be a solar farm. I look back, a data center, something for Brian. And Brian has done a lot of very good things for Washington County, and they still do. But what you all have done to them, I think, especially in my area, has been a very black eye, unfortunately, on Brian. And I, for one, owe the people in my district an apology for their vote. I should have looked at it, but I should have dug into it. I'll take my responsibility. Call that people, the mayor, the one, sits on the right next board. He was here that night. Never spoke one word to us. We had to know you all were doing this bit. That would give us time to look into it. We never had that. And I have to genuinely appreciate the commitment, because I was here last night. But I understand many of you all asked for up there and stood up, even though you represent other areas of the county, the people down in the rural part of Washington. And I appreciate it. You follow my heart. Because I guess sometimes you make votes that you regret.
should be, I don't know who makes the decision, but I think Commissioner Davenport has the exact right to shut this thing down until we can. I understand, right, it's a money for them, which is great for the whole county. Anybody who buys power will save money if they can make money off of this, but I understand it's probably one of the largest power users. So, I mean, I used to serve in the power board. I served 3 terms ago, in the power board. I can understand where they can, I don't think they do. I don't think they do the extent of the noise and the problem we're having. But it is a problem. And with any good neighbor, I think you should definitely, until something can be done, so we get the wood. People down there wouldn't be glad, they'd be glad. I live in a house that I spend about $600,000. You probably live in one, maybe more expensive one. But wouldn't you hate to see something like this come across the street from you? These people are here first. We all can, how would you or your CEOs feel about something like this coming in across the street from you would be happy? Either with any of us, I'm sure glad it's not from mine. But I hear these people who live. I think you have to have something like that. I hope we'll talk to you, but I think we should leave all options on the table.
Commissioner Jones?
I do research, and I know that, when we talk about studies, it's not some of the research that we know out there. And it concerns me to hear you say it seems like having things. That should be tested. There should be numbers associated with changes to the variable here. So, I really like you to come back, bring us some measurable way of knowing how it reduced the sound revenues and seaside. And I think, the idea of setting it down is reasonable, and maybe more reasonable is setting, part of the pieces of it, the way you put it. And it might be good industry-wide. I would think that would have application in lots of places. So, and I would also think that if money made in solutions to increase so, anyway, my other request is we're going to test it out, give us some data.
Commissioner Malone?
Thanks for being here. I do think it would be good, if you visit with us again in September when perhaps more data and more results are available. I spoke with one of the residents Saturday, and he was actually complimentary. He played a voicemail message, I think, from one of your colleagues, and so he acknowledged that Red Dog was doing a better job of keeping some residents involved, and then hopefully they can disseminate information to others. So, thank you for that. He said they're doing a better job of keeping us informed, but he did acknowledge that so far, there's been no, and I understand it's early, but there's been no notable improvement in noise level. And similarly, I guess, to Commissioner Davenport's idea, I had a couple questions or ideas, and I know both of them have financial ramifications, but as I recall when you were with us last month, you had referenced that the design used for this operation was different than perhaps Red Dog had used at others, and that I've even heard from Brightridge that some of their representatives have traveled down around Knoxville or other places, and they've been to other Bitcoin mining operations that are not as loud as this one. Part of me wonders why, rather than go to the time and trouble and energy of trying to lower the noise level of the existing facility, why not over time go back to the technology that already works and apparently operates at a lower noise level? Because again, I'm hearing from others, I think even yourself last month, that there are designs that do not have nearly as much noise. So that's one question. And I'll go ahead and get my second one in, and this one may impact Brightridge. I like the idea in the interim of just shutting the thing down.
Alternatively, I've asked the question, so why is the thing running at night? That is when, I guess, the rates, the electrical rates from Bright Ridge and your TVA are the lowest. This would likely involve some assistance from Bright Ridge and your TVA, but at a bare minimum, short of shutting the thing down, let it operate during the day and shut the thing down in the evening. Even if that meant, whether it's Bright Ridge or TVA, adjusting the rates charged to Red Dog during the day, at least this would give in the interim, while you're working on solutions, this would give the residents some respite from the noise during the evening hours when they're at home and they're sitting out on the back porch. So that may involve may require an involvement from Bright Ridge to adjust rates, but it would seem like that, even if it required an investment on Red Dog's part to pay more for electrical and run it during the day and not at the night, or for Bright Ridge to do a discount to the rate and allow you to run it during the day and not at night. I think the better option is to shut the thing down, but in the alternative, adjust the operational hours to give the residents a respite from the noise. So two questions there. Why not change the design to something apparently you already know works better with lower noise, or change the operational hours for the operation?
Sure, I'll try to address the first one. I think I'm probably able to address the question about rate. Even though I'm in the target for sure. So I just go back to what you said. I think the question was what we did in things like this. He said, no, but I'm aware of, and then I think was what's the difference? I'm not sure that the sound level were actually level coming out of the design that we have here versus the design that's the facility that we talked about outside. So I believe that this design can get down to lower levels than what's that through the installation of acoustical louvers, some of the internal sound that Terrence we talked about, and potentially some other things that we can achieve results that are much lower than what's there. And I think that's the most prudent path to try to deal with what we have. And I think we can be successful. On the rate question, I don't know, that would probably be a Bright Ridge or combination there to the question. I don't know if this advisor wants to address that or not.
And not to say the rate that they operate under is designed around the large users, and it is a special rate that TVA offers, so it's not one that Bright Ridge contains a good adjustment to, but it is designed really to operate in off-peak times. It's the lower part of the rate. They can run during what we call peak times during the day, but it is at a larger rate. So the rate is designed by TVA for large users, such as this, such as large industries. So it is a rate that is offered by TVA across the entire valley, so it's not one they would be open to adjusting just for this one spot. But they can operate during the day, it's just at a different rate. And that rate is on the contract that they have.
Well, it seems as if we've gotten the cart in the ditch here, and at least in the interim, while they find a solution, if there could be some rate adjustment, and you may have just encouraged 15 commissioners and a bunch of homeowners to call TVA, because if you're telling us TVA is the one that can make that decision, I don't know that any of us mind at least asking the question or encouraging our state and federal elected representatives to go to TVA and ask that question.
And that's certainly a question you could ask TVA, and this is a rate that they have designed for 25 megawatts and larger, so that they can provide incentives for industries to move to the state, I shouldn't say just the state, but the entire 7 states that TVA represents. So this is a rate that has been set there that's, as mentioned earlier, they are, at this time, the largest customers we have. By example, ETSU's the second largest charges and maybe emphasize what they would do. So it is something that, feel free to contact TVA. Again, it's one that they would have to look at on the system-wide, the entire service territory that they have.
Commissioner Edens?
Just a follow-up question. Mr. Mayfield said he wouldn't be that person that can make that decision to shut it down and in terms of finding a solution. I'd like to know who the person is, because that organization is, as a commission, we could address if we want to disagree on the problem.
And I would not answer for them, but I would mention that to the CEO or president of your office.
I'd just like to contact them, or who that person is that can make that decision to shut it down in the interim. Because that's the person we can make that request to.
Decision about shutting the operation or executive. I can certainly, I can give you my contact information and send this here as we get that information. It's to have contact the city leadership. Decisions about operating under my season.
And how long would that take to get that information?
About contact information.
For us to have the information to contact the people that we need to contact on this issue.
So I think if you can contact us here, we'll all that information and we send it in.
I'd like to have the information.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Jeff, I'd like to ask you, if you all had conversations with the guy who was shutting down or adjusting some hours, if you all had that at this point, if not, can you all, will you all have these conversations on behalf of the folks in the county and the country?
And we certainly will have those conversations, and we've had numerous conversations about the operation stuff, but we're certainly here who wants to be more than happy to make that contact and make that contact with the folks you're talking about.
To me, it looks like you all would be initially more effective than us. We've got a lot of action on our part, but if you all could do that, I think it would be nice to, you get hit with this tonight, I understand that, but by next month, you're back on the progress of that discussion, and also you're back in Red Dog on, it'd be nice if somebody can sort of set the mechanism to be here to address that issue too. That seems like fairly reasonable. I realize it's solid, but it's a pretty reasonable request under the circumstances. Everybody agrees that this is your problem.
And I would commit to say, probably prior to you in contact, and let us reach out and talk to them.
Commissioner Tester?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple questions, follow up from last month. I asked last month if your contract between Right Ridge and Red Dog had clauses for anyone else to get out early. You said it was a 5-year contract. And at the time, you weren't sure what actually was. So I'm going to ask you again, so that you got a month to look at it.
Having spoken with the legal side, there's no real way that we can get out of the contract early. There's other discussions that we have had, but as far as the contract itself, it will come to that period.
And my second question is there conversations going on between the two of you possibly, or is there any consideration from Red Dog's point of view of Red Dog actually buying the property at any time in the future? Did either one of you into that?
Well, I think that they actually have the option of purchasing the property. Right now, the lease is that they do have an option to purchase just that particular piece of property that their equipment sits in.
And what are, for a certain time period, or give us that option?
Through the course of the contract, they have that option, but that's not leased.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
I'm hearing there are 15 separate pods of equipment, is that correct? Why can't you just shut down all but one and work on it?
I'd have to refer to them because let me get
Commissioner Huffine?
This question is really directed to Mr. Mayfield. Last time you were here, you were discussing the test, and I guess probably false expectation on my part. I really thought you'd have some results to bring back to us tonight and quantify what your expectations were for being able to lower the impact, but understand that at the time constraint. My first question is on the acoustic, whatever. You installed one, so 1 of 14. What would be the time frame for manufacturer and install the other 14 in anticipation of reduction in noise? And what would that percentage of reduction be?
I don't know that I can specifically speak to percents. I mean, you can see maybe, it's always measured.
You can find your interpretation significant. 50% significant.
That would be significant for your, that's a significant number. You know, it was 15 total parts, so it's 15. So, I expect, talking to Bill Laney, it's working on this, and we're going to have at least 8 done within 30 days, all of them within 6 months. And we're going to start on the side faces, on the north side, which is multiple more ones.
You know, I think based upon that, Commissioner Davenport was quite reasonable. Shut down 14, bring them back online, you get this installed, and I think as a good neighbor, you're showing goodwill to the community, and to the entire map, county that you are committed to be here and to be good neighbors. That's just my.
Commissioner Ford?
We've all sat here and passed this around this room, and we don't have any solution yet. But man, it's been 30 days, and there's been no change as far as red and so, and north. Now, we'll need 30 more days after the result, what extent is self-sufficient.
I believe so, yes, sir.
I just like to see us not get abandoned, I like to see it get fixed. And that way we have to do it. Thank you.
Commissioner Davenport?
Yes, and really to Bright Ridge. Bright Ridge has done so much for our community. You know, just lately with the things you're trying to do with the internet and things like that. And I give you credit for looking out and trying to gain business to keep costs down to your customers. I think what you did was the right thing to do. I think that was good business, but somewhere along the line we didn't do our due diligence. And I'll take part of that ownership as a commissioner here. I no longer can just look at something face value on this page when it comes to me. I have to dig in and deep and make sure what's going in. And I think as far as what we need to do, when did this start? When did the power get turned on and the fans start running?
Gosh, well, I would say 4 months ago.
Okay. And we're nowhere, we pretty much knew on day one, I believe, that we had a problem. And we may be closer to a solution and we may not, because we don't know that what's working on now is going to be a solution. I beg of you, and the great company that you have, and for what you've done to this community, not to let this be a black eye for all of us. And to look, and I realize you're in a contract and there's things legally you have to do, and I respect that. I'm also concerned about what the purchase agreement is at the end of this lease, and who can make that decision. I'm very worried about that, so I think we need to know that. And I think we need to look somehow at what can we do as a commission legally to get involved here as well. We need to go ahead and start getting lined up and support our people that this is not going to stand. And we need to see what we can do and what leverage we have for the people in that area. And we need to start doing that immediately, whatever that is, and that's legal. And we need to get behind this. And I would beg Bright Ridge to join us.
And again, I certainly, I'm like you, I don't want this to be a black on either or the great people that I work with, because there's some great folks there, and they do a great job every day. I don't want you to feel like this is a black eye on you or anything that y'all do, because I can stand here and tell you this bothers me as much or more than it does y'all. And if there's a black eye on anyone, it's not on any of the folks that I work with. They did an excellent job. They do an excellent job every day. Just don't view them in any bad light or any of this thing, because if there's anyone that will take full responsibility for it, I want this thing corrected, and I don't want this to be a black eye on anyone here or the folks that day in and day out in the excellent job of practice, because they're with you all the time in the community and everything, and know that they are excellent people. So if there's anyone that stands here with a black eye, it's not Bright Ridge, it is me. And I'll take responsibility for that, because as I've always been told no matter where I've been, I represent Bright Ridge, but I am the one that stands there to protect anything that comes our way, and not the employees that I represent.
Commissioner Wheeler?
I appreciate that, but I don't think that's the way it works. I think this is black eye on us. You know, I agree, Mr. Harris, I regret that vote. There's just no way it's not a black eye on us. It's a black eye on the name of Bright Ridge. And it's a name of shame that it is. People in the community don't think about you, Jeff, when they think about this or hear about this, they think about Bright Ridge. And I agree with Mr. Davenport that if we want to keep working, this thing taking so long, and it's not going to be, we have to mitigate it quickly to shut it down. And I hope that you'll present this to the council workers when the time can start looking at if we don't see members involved. I don't think there's been a commitment. The questions asked about when you buy data, if there's not been a commitment that we have data. I think it's time that we ask you all to work with our county attorney and stuff like that. If this doesn't turn around, what are we going to do? It's a concern. I don't know about anybody else, but it's a concern for me that I don't know that I'm comfortable yet. You may fix that right now. That Bright Ridge is that committed that they would actually take that step if necessary to fix this problem. And I think that might help those of us on the commission and those of us that live out there and know you all are going to do whatever it takes to fix this problem.
And I think we can give you that commitment if we want to make sure this problem is correct. One way or the other.
Commissioner Ford, did you have your hand up?
I just, summation, what I think we were misrepresenting, probably, we're ready to do. But, you know, everybody here on the panel talking about this solar farm, well, it's not solar. I grant you anything, and we gotta take that look. Here on, I'll be like Brian Vanport, the rest of the commission, I'll give you this one. I'll find out if you're on both. That's back on me.
I would like to add one thing, Commissioner. Can you bring in a resolution next month?
What resolution? The one that was approved?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Be a bother.
I did not think it would be noise and stuff that would be I can say that I didn't know there was some, but I really didn't think in the ones that we had seen our folks had looked at, that it'd be anything like this.
All right, any further questions, or Commissioner Harris?
I just want to say to the commissioners again, how much this is one of my districts. I really appreciate all of you standing up for people. Again, it's the worst vote I know my people follow me to make it, but I appreciate what everybody understands to help us hope and get it resolved. I agree with everything that board is doing. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Commissioner Malone?
Well, Mr. Dykes, just one additional thought, and I know, having had some conversations, I've got friends that work at Breckenridge, I've got family that works in Breckenridge, and I know that this has been an issue for them, an issue of concern. But what I'm hearing tonight is, I'm not sure that the commission sees Breckenridge as a committed partner to resolving the issue. And I'm not trying to spend Breckenridge money, heavens no, but I think it's a little lame to blame TVA and TVA rates. I would imagine that if Breckenridge wanted, they could discount the rate and during the day and let that thing run during the day, so it didn't run at night. Now, maybe that's not correct. And if we just shut the thing down for whatever period until it got corrected, Breckenridge could forego any rent that it was being paid, any rent on the land during that period of time. I think those would be tangible things that this commission and the community could see that Breckenridge took the issue seriously and was working as a partner to find a resolution. So between now and next month, you might give thought to how can we evidence to this commission and the community that Breckenridge is seriously partnering to find a solution. Even if it meant that it had a financial impact on Breckenridge. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? So gentlemen, I think we all understand each other well. We just want solutions. So we'll know you'll be back next month, and we appreciate all your hard work, and I know you're working on them a lot. So thank you all so much for being here. Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Dykes, before we depart? We appreciate you. We do. Thank you, Mr. Napier, for being here. We appreciate you a lot. A lot of good discussion here tonight, and right, the next item is receive and consider the minutes, and we have two sets of minutes to consider this evening. The first set is the minutes of the special call meeting on June 24th of the Board of County Commissioners. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Carriger, seconded by Commissioner Cate to approve the motion. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Yes, Commissioner Jones. Oh, I'm sorry.
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Story, if you'll show Commissioner Jones abstained. Next item is also a receive and consider the minutes from the July 26, 2021 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Commissioner Tester?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a small correction on those, resolution 210707. We made an amendment to that before we voted on the resolution, and I actually voted yes on the amendment, and I recorded no, so I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes with that correction.
All right, I have a motion, I have a second with that correction. Second by Commissioner Edens. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. The motion passes. All right, our next, we'll move on to elections, appointments, and confirmations. Some way between when I left the office and I arrived here, I have lost sheet number 2. That is not good. But our first resolution is Resolution 210802. is a resolution confirming the appointment of a member to the Agricultural Extension Committee. Do you have a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Eads. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Carriger to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions? Questions been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 15 yes, and the resolution passes. Next resolution is Resolution 210803, is a resolution appointing 2 members to the Washington County Industrial Development Board. We have a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Fitzgerald to approve the resolution, second by Commissioner Ford. Question or discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 14 yes, 1 no, and the resolution passes. Next resolution is Resolution 210804, is a resolution confirming the county mayor's reappointments to the Washington County Regional Planning Commission. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Kate. Do I have a second? I didn't catch the second. Second by Commissioner Carriger. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. (15) yes, and the resolution passes. The other resolution was moved to the Rules Committee report. We will now have nominations and election of members to the Committee on Committee. Commissioner Tester?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Kate.
Commissioner Kate has been nominated. Other nominations? Commissioner Williams?
I'd like to nominate Jim Wheeler.
Commissioner Wheeler has been nominated. Commissioner Edens?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Ken Harris.
Commissioner Harris has been nominated. Commissioner Wheeler?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Malone.
Commissioner Malone has been nominated. Commissioner Harris?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Danny Hughes.
Commissioner Harris has been nominated, Commissioner Edens. Commissioner Jones?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Huffine.
Commissioner Huffine has been nominated. Any further nominations? Commissioner Malone?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Carriger.
Commissioner Carriger has been nominated. Is there any further nominations before I close the floor? I'll close the floor for nominations. Ms. Green is preparing our ballots for voting. Commissioner Tester? Oh, Commissioner Malone?
Well, before we commenced the voting, I was surprised when I saw this on the agenda because it just seems like we're getting a group and then we're potentially replacing them. I'm just curious if there's any sentiment among the commission that we leave the committees as they are for the remaining, we did change last year, I think, but is there any sentiment among the commissioners to leave the committees as they are for the remaining year of our term? And I'll ask it as a question.
Learn how to work within these committees, and we will enhance our work to lead our committees as is.
Different from the committee on committees, I think.
So what are we going to do?
So I did pull from last year. This is who's on it last year. So that was not nominated. That was not nominated. So those two are different.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Chairman, to get us somewhere to talk about that, I'd like to make a motion that we leave committee on committees as it stands for the past year and recommend to them that they bring back to us the same slate of committees that's through next month. So that, I think that's basically what we did year before last, and that would put us in a position to move forward with what they're suggesting. See the second.
It's a motion to keep the committees the same, or the committee on committees the same, correct?
Yes, sir, to recommend to them that they bring us back a slate that is the same, we can both do that. That's what we want to do.
Okay. And to leave the committees the same. I think Allison may want to speak here. Hang on just.
For sake of good order, I was looking from last year, the members of the Committee on Committees are Commissioners Malone, Jones, Davenport, Carragher, and Wheeler. So tonight we heard Malone, Carragher, and Wheeler be nominated, and they didn't object to that, but you would have two members, Davenport and Jones, who are not nominated this evening, and you would probably just want to confirm that they were willing to serve if you were going to make such a motion, just for good order on that.
Commissioner Jones?
I would be willing to serve.
Commissioner Davenport?
Yes.
Right. They're willing to serve. All right, we have a motion and a second. We have a discussion.
Mr. Chairman, we have the resolution. Gene, I want to make sure I know what I'm voting. I get confused.
All right. Is there any discussion or questions on what the motion was? No? No?
The motion on the floor right now is that we keep the committee on committee the same as last year, and that we recommend to the committee on committees that they keep all of the committees the same as we had this past year.
Yes,
Okay.
that is a motion.
Thank you.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, switch us to the voting screen and spread it. All right. Go ahead and cast your vote, lock it in. We have 12 yes, 3 no, and the resolution passes. Or the motion passes. All right. If you're on committee on committees, be sure and get with Sherry before we leave. And she'll get that meeting scheduled as soon as possible, right? Because I'm sure she would be glad to know who the chairman is so we can get that done. We're going to have a busy September. All right, our next item is nomination and election of the chair and vice chair. So,
Chairman?
yes, Commissioner,
I nominate
Let-
Greg Manley to be our chairman for the coming year.
let me step down. Ms. Story needs to take the chair.
All right, we'll open the floor for nominations for chairman.
Not already a record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more nominations?
Move the nominations for chair cease.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Looks like you're elected.
I've written my acceptance speech out the last couple of weeks. Yes, Commissioner Jones?
I just want to thank you, Chairman, for your willingness to lead us in and just note to all of my colleagues how much we appreciate your professionalism and your skills, interactions with the public in a way that make us feel like we're really doing good business here in Washington. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. I know it's been a hard year for us. It's been a tough year with COVID. It's been a tough year on video meetings, and it's not been the most optimal year to be a county commissioner. It's been a tougher year to be a chairman as well at times, and making those decisions and praying did I do the right thing? And I don't know that I did every time, but I did my best, and I appreciate you all. That's what makes it so good is the teamwork. So, and we all got our own attitudes, and we all got our own agendas some days, and man, I'm telling you, there's just a lot to be done. But I appreciate each one of you. It brings something special to me. Even calling Commissioner Harris, and him said, "Are we having another telephone meeting?" You know, and I appreciate that, and I really enjoyed my time as chairman, and you all are a blessing in my life for sure. But we need to get on with the floor, and we will open the nominations for vice chairman. Commissioner Tester?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Wheeler.
Have a motion to nominate Commissioner Wheeler.
I move nomination cease and be elected by acclamation.
Have a motion to nomination cease and Commissioner Wheeler be elected by acclamation for vice chairman. Second that. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Congratulations, Commissioner Wheeler. You are our new vice chairman again. And we appreciate you. I do a whole lot, so thank you. Did you write your acceptance speech?
I promise to keep trying to make your life as easy
I appreciate you. All right, going on down the list, I can't believe I've lost the second page of my agenda. But we do have the county mayor's report. Mayor Grandy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is a little report in the packet, which you can see a couple small additions. New local agreement between the town of Gatlinburg and the county regarding water projects is in draft form and has been emailed to each of the commissioners. So you should have that, hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at it and forward any comments that you might have or suggestions. That has been a continual state of work between our attorneys, the county administrator, the county, expected to be a final form or at least a close to final form by committee meetings next week, be considered by the county registrar this month earlier in the full commission June of the month, and that's the plan. Two other things, last week, you may have seen an announcement for a local company standing, Lab Connect, announced their planned expansion that was due in about 16 or 17 months. It's happening right now, so they are significantly ahead of their plan and growth. It's very nice announcement. We've been doing jobs for those folks, and they're well-paying jobs. And Senator Blackman was here and Congresswoman Hartsbarger also to that end. This week, on Wednesday, you may have seen the notice that Project Stamp, there's an announcement at the foyer building on Wednesday at 11:30. You're invited to be there, and I think we'll be pleased to have that. That's the addition.
Mayor? Commissioner Harris?
Yes, this goes back to this red dot issue. Well, I mean, I live here, I'll take responsibility for both. We all serve on the power board for Whitman County, two are.
I'm one, and Dan Brand is the other. And I'll just say,
We have two members.
That's right.
In their mind, that we voted to approve that. There was nothing ever said to us that this was going to be a red dot or a bit. Were you aware of that?
we had the same exact data that was presented to the county commission. I think we heard.
Well, the question I've got is, as a board member for the parish, did you know that this was going to be a Bitcoin operation? Who's running the parish?
You heard Mr. Dykes speak earlier.
I'm sure that he does. He's the CEO, so he never informed you all as members of the parish.
It was presented to us the same way it was presented to the planning commission, the same way it was presented to this commission as a guy.
So you all didn't know that.
I had no reason to dig any further, so, I mean, I'll take the same responsibility.
I'll say this, by you not knowing, on the parish board, I wouldn't be that. You know, you've got a responsibility, you're representing us on the parish board. And I would say to you, you didn't know, at your next meeting, I would sure be rather than occasion. Because if I was on the parish board, and I served on the parish board in Irving for 3 terms, before I would have voted on that, the parish board left. With all the information they normally gave us, I would not. I think you should take that up with them directly and go along with what we said and call on them to shut that thing down.
Like I said before, I'll take the same responsibility of all the people who voted for it, and we didn't ask enough questions.
Would you go on the record tonight saying you agree with us, it should be shut down?
I think either the town needs to be mitigated or it needs to be shut down.
Commissioner Huffine?
I just wanted to thank the mayor on behalf of myself and probably some of my fellow commissioners that challenge taking our own notes and then later on reading notes. Thank you for putting this down. Really good stats here and good points that we can reference back to. So thank you very much. Truly appreciate that. Sincerely.
All right, any more questions? All right, seeing none, the county attorney's report, Ms. Wilkins?
I have not sent you a written report this evening. You will have executive session at the end of the meeting. In the meantime, if you have any questions about anything we're doing at the county attorney's office, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. All right, county trustee, I don't see Mr. Story here. His report is on page 43, if you would like to review that. The Director of the Health Department, Dr. Hodgin, is here. I've had to call on him this month, and appreciate his insightfulness and having some COVID answers, and I want to thank you personally for doing that and taking that time. Thank you.
Good evening. I have a few things I'd like to share with you this evening on the dynamic nature of finding ourselves yet again with the COVID response. As you probably are aware if you're watching the news or looking at these data points as I am on a daily basis, everything's up. COVID testing is up, case rates are up, positivity rates are up, and that kind of thing. We're watching this Delta variant we discussed, I want to say about 2 months ago, topic here about this Delta variant that was coming across from abroad. What we've seen in the last month, 5 weeks or so, just want to give you some quick data on that. Testing rates the week of July 12th, I did 5 tests. We did 308 last week. So testing rates are way, way up. We have 1,002 active cases in the counties right now, and 119 on Friday. So also up significantly there. The positivity rate of the testing we're doing is about 50%. Put that into perspective, at the height of this last January-ish, it was upwards of like 38%. So just put that in perspective, we're currently at 15. And the daily case rates per 100,000 people a month ago were 25. This last week they were 700. So we're about 3 or 4 days. On the flip side, COVID vaccine is also seeing an uptick. Region-wide, we just got numbers from the regional office about this last week. Region-wide, we're about 35% where COVID vaccine uptake. That's also up. Washington County itself still leads the region at 54.5% single dose of our citizens there. The regional average is 40%. That was a question we had last session. We're doing well, how's everybody else doing? On average, we're at 40%. State average is now 40%. In the way of the vaccine itself, you've seen news this morning, the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine for 16 and up, so we've been operating under an emergency use authorization that EUA is still approved for 12 to 15-year-olds and also for a third dose. And it's just come out on that here just a second. So on August 12th, the FDA amended the emergency use authorization for both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to allow for this. And that is to moderately to severely immunocompromised folks. And it's important to make a distinction there. It's not a booster that's been approved at this point. This is a third dose. For folks whose immune systems may not have responded quite effectively after 2 doses of the vaccine. So that is about 3% of the population of vaccines. So the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted to recommend that third dose on the back of FDA's EUA. And so that's what we're looking at now for our third dose. To make the distinction, the discussion now is on a booster. The booster is something that is or would be approved for everybody based on the waning of your overall protection based on our 2 doses. So as we got to talking about this a few sessions ago, when you are doubly vaccinated, we're looking at about 94.5% protection. Over time, what we're finding is that's waning down, and at about the 8th-month mark, is what the data looks like right now, which is what we're talking about, an actual booster. If you do the quick math on that, we started vaccinating in late December, early January. So we're looking at probably September, mid-September. If this thing does get approved, that will be looking at.
Mr. Chairman, if I might ask a question.
Mr. Carrigan?
Something out of curiosity, and people that have been vaccinated and those folks that had COVID, survived it, or have some immunity to the disease, what percent of our county has been either vaccinated or survived? What would you guess the percentage is?
This county's vaccination rates are 48.5%, which is completely racist.
I'm just curious, and I'm sure we've got a bunch of people that have survived it, so just, what's the immunity rate?
I don't have good numbers on those that have actually contracted the virus and they can't prove like certain.
Yeah, it's a good estimate. Because I think that's a real number that we need to be concerned about. Thank you.
Commissioner Harris?
How closely are you working with the school system? I get a lot of concerns, I guess, because of it, understand it. That they were younger people, and I read a story in the Johnson City Press today. It's a board in it's a hospital, children's hospital, the hospital, what kind of coordination you all have with the school system? I guess I'm sure they follow your all's guidance. I just wonder what's the working relationship, I guess, if you all have.
We're in communication with the school system, both counties, schools, as well as Washington County. We have in the local health department, so my health educators are double up right now. One of those are our school contact, but the regional office really is right now as well. Talking about, hey, here's what CDC is saying, here's what they're recommending. We want to get our tracking schools done as a priority, so how do we engage in place? We are seeing an uptick in child cases. The numbers on that, as a matter of fact, hopefully down. About 349 cases of vitamin clinical. If I do that math right, we've got 1,000 active cases, 350, that's about 35%. So last time I checked, children in Washington County are about 19% of the county. So that to me is a, you can see the disparity in that there, right? Everybody's going to level place to 100% of the county. I got about 35%. We are seeing an uptick in cases. We have seen a few, I think the number I saw last was 4 that have been admitted. So that's one or two that have been admitted. Two of the parents are both in the heart goes out to them. Well, the numbers that I've seen, yes, there are more people that are being infected. I don't see the high numbers of severe disease.
Just one more follow-up question on that. So the numbers I had, though, I say, I had 40,000 numbers that I still on the wrong side. I would recommend everybody get vaccinated. And the numbers you're seeing as far as people in the hospital, is it percentage-wise, people who've been vaccinated, is looking to vary what probably is in that here.
Last numbers I saw on those who are hospitalized, about 90% of them were unvaccinated.
Commissioner Jones?
I know that the equation of how many have been vaccinated and how many have COVID could give us a feeling that there may be maybe some approximation of herd immunity. If you've got people who had the disease, who can't get it anymore, but we know we're not there because the hospital numbers just keep going up and up, right? And when we start looking at clinic operations, you run an outpatient clinic, primary care, you run other medical services that people rely on, and your staff have to start handling more COVID testing, more vaccines, more people are sick. What other clinical services have you seen kind of going down the scale of the crew or limitations of providing other health care at this time that will start to affect people who don't?
It's a constant discussion, we're constantly planning for that, so we've already had a discussion, I had my 45 this afternoon, I had my leadership meeting, that's one of the topics we're vaccinating out. So when we do that, we have a plan and work with folks on staff like we're talking about, so we can start talking about it when we cut. That plan or not, I think we all where and we all pull down on plan this last go around in January and May. So he does take his toll on the healthcare staff. They are fighting. Give them some downtime in the summertime a little bit, just to take a deep breath. We didn't know what was coming this fall. But it does have an effect, that measurable effect. I couldn't give you the hard numbers on that, but I can tell you that we try and stay ahead of that curve. Time off is managed, so it will necessarily pull us in another direction. And we're going to have to start with what money we've got, how much, and how we prioritize our COVID effort to get us back to some sense of that.
Well, thanks for all that you and your staff do. There are things that government can support that will.
Commissioner Williams?
Explain the difference between a third shot and the booster.
The dosing is the same, as far as I know.
That's what I heard on Fox News.
The third dose is for people who are immunocompromised. So it's not necessarily timeline driven, whereas a booster would be an A1 booster, an A1 booster, something like that. So for the third dose that's been approved at this point, if you were to go on CDC's website, there's an actual list that they put down. And you say moderately to severely immunocompromised, here are the folks to come. If you had these issues or take these kinds of medications that are not immune consistent, things like that. So they've got a specific populace that's in mind, about 3% of the patients.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, Commissioner Davenport?
I guess, Commissioner Jones, you may have the answer, but when I think of what I've been talking about, getting past all of this and getting herd immunity, I've heard 50, 60, 70% of the people get vaccinated. But I thought that was taking into account that the people who are vaccinated couldn't get whatever the disease is. That's how the herd immunity. We know that's not the case with this. So what percentage would have to get vaccinated if you could still carry it? Again, with herd immunity, from what I've seen, and maybe I'm wrong, it means I take the vaccination and I can't get it, so I can't pass it on to the people that have chosen or couldn't get vaccinated. Well, that's not the case with this. So I would think the percentage to get herd immunity would have to be a lot greater. Is that?
So two things there. One, the first and only number I've seen on that we were given early on was 60% of the community, is vaccinated against the virus that happened. And it's where we want to establish herd immunity. On that, with those who have been vaccinated who are picking up the Delta variant in this case, what we're finding is the symptoms aren't quite so severe, far fewer chances of going to the hospital as a result, that kind of thing. So whereas instead of I can't get it, it may be over time as I do get it, it's quite severe. There's just not a ton of information on that.
But my question really is, because I can still, I've had a vaccination, so if I get it, I understand it, but I can still pass it along, just as if I didn't have a vaccination. So I would think that in herd immunity, when we talk about that before, essentially we talk about it in a way that once you were vaccinated, you didn't get it, you didn't pass it on. So therefore, that changes that equation, so you would need a larger amount to be vaccinated to reach herd immunity.
Perhaps.
That's one of those things where we're going
But again, to educate, we're really trying to educate our folks, the people that do not want to take the vaccination because of that reason. They need that kind of education. What I think doesn't help, even though I stay at home.
Commissioner Jones?
I'm really not a public health expert, but I have read on this a little. If what people are passing, vaccinated people can't pass on the Delta variant. And the longer that people don't get vaccinated, the more the virus has a chance to mutate and outsmart the vaccine that we created based on the original code. I mean, we have to outsmart all the new variants that are coming. So the faster everybody gets vaccinated, the wall goes up. And then the new variants can't create among the unvaccinated. But the delay was a little long here. And so now we got Delta. Delta's a little smarter than the vaccine that we had back in January. Meanwhile, we've heard the other three alphabet letters are coming down the road, and they're all outsmarting. That makes sense. And I'm probably like, saying not exactly specifically correct. But the bottom line is, the longer people wait to get vaccinated, the more the virus has a chance to overcome that.
And you may not know the answer to this question, but in the summertime, flu virus, it goes down. Why is this virus going up in the summertime? I always thought viruses kind of went dormant or rested in the summer.
I don't know that they take the summer off necessarily.
Well, I just look at the flu virus, and some of it, heads that way and then starts back up in the fall and winter. I'm just curious.
So, from my exposure to these kind of things, lots of reasons there, tend to be indoors when it's colder outside, in closer proximity to folks, and you've got school concession, that kind of thing, so lots more of the interaction that you would see. Summertime, everybody tends to go do their own thing and come back, but that's just me thinking out loud right now. But the COVID virus is acting like the virus does, and it's mutating as it moves along. That's what we're doing right now, especially with Delta.
Commissioner Tester, did you have a question? Did I see you with your hand up a minute ago?
You did for a second, but I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yeah, you were a blip on my radar there for a minute.
Keep my mouth shut.
All right. Dr. Hodges, we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you, like I said, for all your input, and we'll... All right, our next report is the Director of Schools report. Director Boyd? You may be afraid to come up here tonight, Director Boyd.
Good evening, everyone. I do want to call out the update that I shared with the commission. And, certainly open to feedback. It's kind of the first try at providing you that monthly update. It's something that I try to do, what I do weekly and recently even more frequently during the week to our board members, for our board members. But definitely want to provide you timely, relevant information monthly, kind of highlight things that the school system's looking at, involved in, and maybe even looking forward to the future. And so, if you have any questions about any of those items, I certainly love to address those. Yes.
I have two. The first one is, what's the timeline on the assessment of the facilities?
Well, we received approval for the RFP to seek out a company. We have not publicly released that yet. We will be doing that to release an RFP to solicit a group that will do that study. The focus will be an evaluation of all our facilities and do a baseline where all of our facilities and all the systems and facilities are,
So we basically assign a number to the systems and to the overall status of the school. And then in addition, it would be the demographic study. We would look out as far as looking at population growth and how the needs of the community look down the road and how our facilities we can match that or change. So we will release that. The timeline, I would imagine, in my experience doing a facility study like that, I mean, you're looking, if you get a group that does a good job, I mean, it's going to be at least a 4 to 6 month process.
And then my other question, I'm so glad that you're scheduling this for visits. And just my personal request, and we can talk more about this, and still about it. It'd be kind of neat if there was a one-day dedication to CAT, I'm not technically side for high schools. Because we really wanted to look at that, so that would separate that piece out. And folks couldn't, do the whole high school and really portion. Anyway, just something.
Yeah, right now, we have submitted the tentative dates to the board members, and we want them to look at the dates before we send out invitations to the commissioners. But as I mentioned in that summary, it would be mid-October to early mid-November. And I will say that what we believe and what we'd like to do is if we want everyone, when they go into school, to see what's happening and not be, lack of a better word, a display and dog and pony show. We want some classroom visits. We want to see a daily operation. And we want to also be mindful of everyone's time, both the schools and the visitors. So we'll be looking at scheduling it 2 schools a day and get done by noon.
Commissioner Weaver?
Could we, I know this question could come from budget, but unfortunately, it's probably to you as well, but it probably would be good offer if we could get some sort of a summary of the allocation and that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that could be shared with the commission.
I certainly will, and just as a note, we have submitted, and I did get confirmation from the Department of Education. They received our application, and they have teams that are reviewing applications in batches. So I hope we'll get the next update we can get that they are actually reviewing our application, and we should get some feedback to get.
Commissioner Warren?
Director Boyd, just to thank you for the great report.
I like it, and it helps, gives us a little synopsis, but then also just a word of congratulations on the recognition the system received for the civics instruction. That's something I certainly see as being lacking in our educational systems today, and to know that in Washington County we're recognized as one of the leaders, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, and congratulations.
Well, thank you. Of course, the credit goes to the teachers and the staff that are all involved in hitting all those marks for Washington County to be one of the 3 districts in the state of Tennessee to receive that recognition. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
I'd like to say I did stay at the holiday in Express like that. My question is, would you know or have any idea how many out-of-county students we have in this county? I know we have some, but I don't know.
The exact amount, we have asked when we're doing enrollment, specifically some of the schools on the border, but I can get that information to all of them. And so we have a good idea, because I know that conversation happens quite a bit, and questions are asked.
Commissioner Huffman?
I just want to thank Mr. Boyd for his commitment to improving communication and the working relationship between the school board and its commission. Thank you very much for submitting this. I know, I think we all share this. It's wonderful to sit down prior to the meeting to be able to review these and have the pertinent questions. And then also, I think it's really helpful as we go back, we can always have a resource to review. So thank you very much. Deeply appreciate it. And I think you've set the standard now for communications from all departments in the county. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate your guidance, and there's always room for improvement. So again, if you have anything that you think I need to get on, certainly, I'm open to those recommendations and questions. Thank you. And Mr. Wheeler, also on the ESSER 3, we have not, I guess, activated yet, but we will have a public website that has all of the details too. I mean, certainly want the commission to have direct access to it, but we want to keep it transparent as possible, so we will be putting all of that information, our application and everything else on our public website.
Director Boyd, I just want to thank you too for your staff and the bus drivers and our teachers and all the support staff that's working hard every day. I've got kids in the system, and I know how dedicated they are to keeping us in school. And I appreciate you making that happen, and I know it's the staff that's out there every day, and I know it's a tough time. It's a tough time for me, and I appreciate all their work.
Yes, sir, thank you, and yes, certainly it is the staff in our schools, and everyone that supports their teachers, and our principals, and all the support in schools and in the district. Especially with recent changes today, was quite an eventful day. It was not unexpected, but, hopefully we can continue. Our main goal is to lower our numbers that we're seeing positive COVID cases in our 5 to 18-year-olds, and then also in our staff, so that we keep schools open. That's the goal, and we may hit some more barriers, but the change is what we were doing just to keep this board updated. We have been following a lot of the protocols, but what we were doing to try to minimize the number of quarantines is we did not follow the Tennessee Department of Health algorithm or protocols exactly, but as of last week's board meeting and with this weekend's reports of positive cases, we implemented it immediately in addition to mask requirement indoors. But, we kept seeing numbers increase, and we saw the same increase as far as a significant number of positives from last week to this week, so we're still seeing positive increases in cases. We hope that with the mask and all of those that continue to wear masks will lower the numbers. We want to continue to try to make sure we can get back to a place where we can talk about instruction, and we can talk about student achievement and high-quality instructional programs and learning opportunities for students, and less about masks and things. But right now, that's the top conversation, as it should be, because the numbers are low.
Right. Let's hope they head down in a more positive direction soon.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Director Boyd? Seeing none? Thank you so much. Can we use a 10-minute break?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and move for a 10